Greetings and welcome to my channel, Meta Messiah. I got a little follow-up video to my last on Okinami, one of my favorite tokens, and I have my new friend here in the Telegram talking to me a little bit about Zimbabwe. We got into a discussion about the dev and Okinami and why hasn't the developer said anything in like 3 months. It's been a while. Especially since the blockchain message of the surge, and the surge really is the crux of it. That's the coup de grace, so to speak. The whole zenith of this mystery is with the surge and the white paper. Okay, so Okinami people, those interested in Okinami, you got to hear me out. Okay. I'll explain to you why the dev has probably not said anything for a while. I'm assuming, for one, based on Twitter, they said Nami Army ready. They're looking to reveal the roadmap. White paper. They showed the pictures of the roadmap white paper at the ETH convention in San Francisco. That's where we got that information. Late summer last year, around that time. Okay, so Okinami's launched mid to late July 2022. Stealth launched. Okay, there's no official, nothing official from any entity about this token. Nothing. There's nothing in any official way or capacity that we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt as to who is behind the project. Okay. Since the Okinami dev, we don't know who it is, despite even some pictures, person in a beard, at the convention with the Okinami T-shirt, if you recall. We saw the Okinami roadmap white paper. So a lot has happened since that San Francisco DevCon in the middle of last year. A lot. Granted, I think it was the latter half of 2022, but, over 6 months ago. And let me explain. Okay, some of my background, I'm an attorney, but I'm not a securities lawyer. I'm not a securities and exchange expert of any kind. But just given my lay perspective, okay, in this area of the law, but with some education in it, I'm just making a guess here, but it's an educated guess, not the best one. I bet a cryptocurrency SEC lawyer would know a lot more about this. And this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. This is not anything other than entertainment and my story. I'm telling a story here that's really interesting about this token, because it is. It's super interesting. Because we think it's connected to the ETH Foundation, because the blockchain evidence shows it. That's indisputable. The blockchain doesn't lie. But people do. Humans do. And a lot of people are like, and my friend in Zimbabwe, who, thank you for correcting me about my last video, because I mentioned Zimbabwe. I'm like, I'm not talking about cryptocurrency, how it's purchased there. I was just saying I could use my Visa or debit card at some tourist place. Centralized finances all over the world. That's another point. But my friend in Zimbabwe and I were having an exchange about Okinami in a private Telegram. And he is concerned. A lot of people are legitimately concerned why the Okinami developer has not said a damn thing for 90 days. And a lot of people we feel like we're kind of owed something. At least throw us a bone or whatever. Well, the website went down. We know somebody's still doing something. And we've seen on the Gorelli testnet, stuff going on with the deployer wallet. So there's stuff happening behind the scenes. It is not as if this project looks entirely dormant. It's just there's no updates for a long time. And then that's the fashion of even Vitalik Buterin and other, Satoshi Kasoma, even though he would tweet a lot. He'd tweet here and there and go into the Discord and do stuff on social media. But in terms of even Shibarium, you get like this, I'm talking to the ghosts or something, whatever he tweeted recently. He doesn't always give a lot of updates, and communication could be way better. Even though we're not like the stock market with crypto, people want communication. They feel like they're kind of owe it, especially communities that support a project feel like they're owed it. And I do agree with that to some extent. But being a rationalist, trying to look at this from an objective standpoint, and this is what it's all about. Okay, the dev showed the roadmap white paper, and in conclusion, after that, there were some major developments in the United States, Europe, Asia, around the world. The legal framework around crypto has rapidly expanded since the roadmap white paper was shown. And the ETH Foundation and nobody behind any crypto project wants to be called a security even. Not to even be called, to be accused of that by Gary Gensler and the SEC. Let alone get litigated for that. That tells me there's probably some shuffling and redoing, because the ETH Foundation people, if they are behind this in any way, or even the developer, if he's got half of a brain and any wisdom at all, has consulted lawyers big time. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to get fined. They want to maintain their anonymity. Okay. They don't want to be called a centralized asset maker of any kind. Okay. Because in the end, they are a decentralized blockchain asset technology that is a utility function, the gas of a big part of the blockchain out there. Anything ERC20 passing along, wallet to wallet using Ethereum, okay, or L2s like Polygon, now Shibarium. So the Okinami dev probably had to go back and make some changes to the white paper. I'd almost bet my money on this, and I'm not giving any financial advice, but it's a bet. I bet my money in Okinami, or bet your money at the gambling casino, whatever you want to do. It's all risk. But I'm almost convinced, I'm almost certain that all this shakeup with the SEC, with the various bodies of government, bureaucracies, governments all around the world are creating a regulatory and legal framework around crypto. We are expecting some regulations by 2025, at the end of that year. However, they're going to be legislating on this for quite a while in the United States. And the SEC is just going to be a bulldog. That's all they can do, is be a bulldog. They're about to lose their XRP lawsuit. I'm pretty sure they're just extending this to save face, and then they'll eventually pull out of this before final judgment, and they won't concede the outcome. They'll basically just say that they're going to maintain a position statement on this and withdraw the case, probably before it actually became a trial. They don't want to. It'll look very bad for the SEC to lose the XRP case in a trial. It will. It's better just to make it quietly go away. It's better to make it just disappear on its own accord. Now, that being said, there's a lot to this. There's actually, it's more than just regulatory government. And to wrap up my conclusion, there is a political, legal, economic paradigm shift. If you've seen what's going on with BlackRock, with Visa, crypto adoption, a global, worldwide financial transaction system based on the blockchain is currently in development and being tested. CBDCs, centralized tokens, tokenization of all kinds of things, even like energy, gas. Like, get your gas, buy the token for the Exxon Mobil, and you can use it to buy their gas. The blockchain, smart contracts, a new monetary system, it's all in the works. It's just they don't want people to know this, they don't want people to see this happen like the internet. We went from like dial-up internet, like in Weird Science, we have to use the telephone, like, stockbrokers and the frickin' government were the only one that used it in the 80s, libraries for research. and so on. We're going from that. It became Facebook like practically overnight, where people on social media doing all their banking transactions on phones. I mean, it was a very fast technological revolution. Okay, the legal framework, the regulatory framework surrounding the World Wide Web and the World Wide Web and Internet took years. When I took copyright law, intellectual property law in 2006, 2007 in law school, I can even tell you from around that time, the regulatory and legal framework, even though it advanced a lot in 2005, 2006 up to that point, there is still a lot of gray area in intellectual properties due to the internet, due to software technologies and code writing, various things that are like that. But one of the things you learn this is a huge thing. One of the things you learn in intellectual property law, copyright, is that you can have trade secrets that are both corporately owned, and I would argue to some extent on a decentralized finance level, there are some things that are secret because people can be secret. And there are ultimately people behind Ethereum and the various crypto projects. Okay, so there's a human thinker, actor behind this. And they're probably well-versed in technology, possibly some law, but may need to be counseled from lawyers. They might need SEC lawyers or various lawyers to help secure this project, and there's time needed for research and development. But I'm really feeling, my gut is telling me, my intuition's telling me, is we haven't heard anything because they're on the low. They don't want to say anything. They're being very careful around this emerging regulatory framework. And then the white paper, the roadmap, has to be tweaked to avoid any legal or government backlash repercussions. Okay, you got to think about this, people. We're not playing around with freaking, apps on the Google store, okay, or on Apple's app website or whatever app store. Okay, we're not playing around anymore. This is like where the highest levels of government are coming down, and you have Sam Bankman-Fried now behind bars. Granted, he did something very fraudulent and wrong, but people don't want to have to deal with the SEC and various apparatuses of government coming down on them, especially if you get found, and you could be found. They have the means of finding you. If they need to, the FBI could pretty much find anyone, okay? And in light of that, they're being careful, and that's fine. Have respect for that. Imagine if you were the one. I want you to imagine if you were the one behind Okinami, and you're the one who's trying to accomplish this major goal for the surge, and you want to, keep your hide in all of this. You want to save yourself and make sure you don't want to get in any trouble or do something that causes a crackdown on DeFi or some type of, major legal action against what you're doing or yourself or the people you work with or care about. This is a survivalist game. It is survival of the fittest until there's laws around it. Okay, so that there's an equal playing field and you can litigate it in the courts and you know how to proceed. And there will always be gray areas, but these, just like with the internet and the World Wide Web, these gray areas, these loopholes get cut down more and more and more because we get more case law and more statutes and laws. It's just an evolution. And the legal framework, the political framework often moves very slow to make laws. But even with laws, they take forever in the courts to adjudicate upon. So finally, okay, the devs, we're working on technologies that are moving at a very fast pace, and just the SEC, Gensler doing whatever he can because they hate crypto or whatever, and other basically major banks, the big banks of the world. Okay, multi-billion-dollar banks are pressuring the government to do this against cryptocurrencies. But at the same time, there is a capitalist system behind this, and they're trying to come up with a framework of laws that protect the consumer, that protect the investors, protect businesses, punish people who are wrongdoers. We don't want guys like Sam Bankman-Fried walking the streets after what all the damage they did, cheating people just to make millions and billions of dollars. And there has to be law, or else there's no final, or how should I say that? There has to be law in terms of economics, because anarchy breeds a lot of bad wrongdoing, and then it causes a lot of damage. Part of why we had the stock market crash in 1929 was also because there were not sufficient enough laws to create all the things the SEC does. And it was a very bad market crash. Okay, when the United States went through the Great Depression, the whole freaking world went through a depression as a result of that. And that was a long depression, over 15 years almost, until we finally pulled out of it right after World War II. At the end of World War II, our economy's booming. But that's when it went back to a real bullish market. From 1929, and then we have the depression from the 30s almost through World War II. It's getting better. World War II things get better, and then we have the booming. The American economy just rages from 1945 all the way through 1965. 20 years of immense growth, and then even more so. It's just not as powerfully and big between 1945 and 1965, but lots of growth between 1965 and 2005, okay? Just not at that rate. America becomes a lead economy, then China, okay? We're neck and neck with China, fighting back and forth in this worldwide economy. A lot of things have changed. There have been drastic changes, fundamental changes, especially with technology. Okay, so all this stuff, the world is changing. We're moving to a blockchainization of the internet, turning the internet into real estate, more or less. And it already is. But it's the blockchainization, Web 3, then Web 4. A lot of big things are happening. So the SEC is this bulldog that a lot of people are afraid of in some ways, but they need to deal with it. They need to deal with it regardless. And so I digress. The main point is, imagine if you were doing what Okinami Dev's doing. Sorry about that rabbit hole on the digression there, but going back to my point earlier, bringing you back. If you were going to do Okinami, how would you go about it? I don't think you could have released, I don't think he could have, or she, or whoever, the Okinami devs, they would not have been able to release it when they thought they could, because they're like, looking back over this and everything going on, maybe we should wait to find out what's going on a little bit more and be more strategic. But that takes information. Information does not always happen on your timeline. Sometimes you have to wait for it. Perhaps they're waiting for the end of the XRP lawsuit. Did you consider that? At the end of the XRP lawsuit, it establishes one case law, very important, and that is to say XRP is not a security. And if that's the case, that might be when they want to move forward. And that's actually going to happen here before sometime this summer. They think before end of July, XRP should be done. SEC, XRP probably going to part their ways with settlement and probably a memorandum of understanding on this, so that the SEC will maintain its argument, its position, but it won't win the case, meaning the law establishes that even a centralized body behind XRP is not making a security. But it is an asset. It is an electronic asset, an internet app. And it's an asset of its own thing. It's so new, it's so unique, but it is an electronic asset of some kind. It passes along through electrons and the blockchain, and from wallet to wallet, and to custodian to custodian. And so something very big is about to happen at a critical juncture of the world moving towards the blockchainization of a lot of things. and the internet moving to the next level. So be patient. I do still believe the patient fisherman catches the biggest fish. And quit going after the dev of Okinami, who I'm fairly certain, based on the sophistication of what's behind this, is very well aware of what they're doing, and everything they're doing is very deliberate and purposeful. As much as we would love to see the dev of Okinami do something, even if he just, like, on his Twitter account did, like, Shitoshi and put a period on a tweet or on his profile, do something to let us know you're live. We can ask that. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe they're testing everybody too. Why would they just go in total silence? Don't leave a breadcrumb trail if you don't want to be identified. The second you post something online, that's a trail leading to you. And if you want to maintain anonymity, privacy, maybe you got to lay low and then find a channel where you know if you post something online, it will never come back to you. And that's smart, in my opinion, especially if you're trying to be anonymous, rightfully so, within your rights, to be, not to dox yourself, but so that nobody can dox you either. We've come pretty close to doxing this dev who was at the Okinami, the Okinami t-shirt guy, the guy with the beard at San Francisco DevCon. Okay, we got pictures of this dude. Somebody on Instagram got pictures of this dude, and we got photos in the Telegram. Link in the description. Our community got this close. Those pictures now exist in the public domain. We may have caused part of that. Dramatic pause. The Okinami community, you know, maybe caused a little shakeup, and they're now rearranging how they're doing things because they don't want people to know who the devs are, and they're allowed that. Okay, like Shitoshi Kusama Shibinu, like Ryoshi. If you don't want people to know who you are, you're very smart about how you release your communications, so that those communications never be tied back to you or your devices, your computers. Because in the end, you need a computer of some kind to do this, something on the internet. Just some food for thought. Just let it go if you're getting impatient, and just wait. You know, focus on some other coins that you like. Don't be so obsessed. Just be patient and wait. Quit staring at paint drying. Quit staring at the water boiling. I would love to see something. I get eager, but I don't get impatient. Eagerness and impatient are two different things. But I even let my eager self go, and I just meditate on other things. And you should do the same. Not financial advice, again, not investing advice, just for entertainment, okay? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you thought it was entertaining, hit the subscription button, hit the bell, get notices of my future videos, like, share, comment, and most of all, just, you know, enjoy watching, you know, just get something from it and share it with a friend. All right, everybody, I'll see you next time, and just chillax, just chill and relax. Later.